experiences. Yesterday's sessions gave us a deep understanding of how eating behaviors and food systems are closely linked to health, safety, and sustainability. We began with a lecture on eating competence, food consumption, and health outcomes, where we learned that healthy eating is not just about nutrients, but also about our mindset, habits, and the way we relate to food. The second lecture on vending machines, food safety, and quality assessment helped us explore how hygiene, proper handling, and quality control play a pivotal role in ensuring the safety of food dispensed through automated systems. We wrapped up the day with a tutorial session that brought everyone together for an engaging discussion on how to achieve better nutrition and taste while maintaining safety standards in a sustainable way. Now let's take a look at what's planned for today. Our first lecture will be on vending machine foods, evaluation of nutritional composition, which will help us understand the nutritional quality of foods sold through vending machines and their implications for food. We have something exciting planned, an industrial visit for hands-on training on millet-based product development and indigenous food product preparation along with local community engagement. This visit will provide a great opportunity to connect theory with practice and understand how traditional food wisdom can align with modern nutrition goals. So without any further delay, let's begin our first lecture of the day. Please join me in warmly welcoming once again Dr. Antonio Rapsu, who will be delivering his lecture on vending machine foods, evaluation of nutritional composition. Over to you, sir.
Good morning and welcome you to one other day of our course. And in this session, we will continue the discussion about the vending machine food products. And yesterday, we talked about the hygienic conditions and the importance of maintaining the food safety aspects related with the foods that are dispensed from these devices and all the involved in the food chain, especially the role of the food handlers. Now, we will further discuss the characteristics regarding the nutritional composition and see how these food products can be evaluated on this regard. Just for reminding, these are the world leaders as we saw yesterday. Japan and the US, being Spain one of the European leaders, but of course with different values regarding the incomes and the number of machines per citizen. And the foods represent more than half of the total items commercialized in these vending machines. So what we have done with regard to this evaluation of the nutritional composition. So we all know that the nutritional quality of vending machine foods may be a factor that contributes to significantly increase obesity and associated diseases. So this is because of the foods that are contained in the vending machines. Of course, if we make some changes on the foods that are available here, of course we can change all these status. Vending machine industry is growing in different countries of the world, and so this research and the evaluation of the nutritional composition of the vending machine foods, and also to compare it with normal consumption of this population of Gran Canaria Island where the study was carried out. Food products from 74 snack and 71 refrigerated machines that were located in this place and especially and on university campuses were nutritionally assessed, and the percentages of sales per food type were also accessed during the period of 1 year to verify the user preferences, and we found significant differences in the content of nutrients compared with this cross-calories test and with the food groups, being sandwiches, the lowest energy food products, while croissants are the highest one. So we would like to highlight that the increased also the increased sodium content in some of these products could be very, very harmful, and then we will see in more detail these results. The findings suggest that the vending machine foods contain more fat, saturated fat, calories, and sodium than what is preconized and recommended by guidelines and by institutions like FDA and World Health Organization. So, regarding future perspectives and further studies on the nutritional assessment of vending machine foods, government's awareness and policies that can promote the intake of healthy foods are very important, are essential to increase the amount of foods with an appropriate nutritional profile according with these guidelines, with these recommendations in vending machines. So, vending machines reflect the good availability and suitability of food and beverages, especially in Western society, and also in many other environments, including schools, workplaces, and health centers. In some places, the availability of alternative foods and beverage from vending machines may be limited, and one of the big advantages, as we already seen in last session, is that we can buy from these machines any kind of food 24 hours per day since they are connected to electricity. Based on this data, providing healthy and varied foods in such machines is very, very important to counteract the facts that some studies have reported, which have documented the most vending machines are typically stocked with foods and beverages that are rich in energy but low in nutrients. Here we have the results we obtained from this assessment. And first of all, we see the daily intake values or reference daily intake values we took into consideration. This is the total amount of each element we should intake per day. And here you have the results we obtained from the nutritional assessment of the different kinds of foods we found in the machines. And as we can see, we have here the different types of, in this case, wholemeal baguettes, and then all the values corresponding to these types of baguettes, and at the end we have the median values, the median that was determined based on all these kinds of baguettes. And we can see special in this case, for example, we have some of these products with almost the amount we should intake per day. You can highlight, for example, the sodium in some cases. We have that baguette, wholemeal baguette, salami and cheese with a content of sodium 1732.5 milligrams of sodium only in one sandwich, in one wholemeal baguette of 85 grams. So, and as you can see, the daily intake of sodium recommended is considering the FDA 2400, and if we take into consideration the recommendations of the World Health Organization is to 2000 milligrams. So in only in one wholemeal baguette of 85 grams, in some of these cases, we are almost complete what we should intake in an entire day of our diet. Another foods we assessed were the croissants, and here you have one example, the first one, that contained tomato, salad, turkey, tuna, and corn. The value of 2,676.3 milligrams of sodium. Only in this food item, the daily intake recommended for this element for sodium is surpassed, even if we pay attention to the FDA recommendations or the World Health Organization recommendations. And if you see, we have also high contents, very high contents, in this case also in energy, but also pay attention to the total saturated fat, and they are very, very increased. Another kind of baguettes made not with wholemeal but with white bread we see very another examples. Of course, this content, this nutritional profile will vary according to the ingredients that we include in the sandwich. But we have and we have, for example, regarding sodium, we have one sandwich with more than 1,200 milligrams, and another example of half of this value. The difference is if we choose the sandwich in tuna, corn, tomato, and vegetables, or salami. Salami, I don't know if you know what is this. It's a kind of cured meat that we consume there. So of course, the content and the type of ingredients that are within in this case, the sandwich, the white bread baguette, will make the difference. Another kind, here this type of bread is smaller, not so big as you see in this. We have 85 grams. It's a bigger piece of bread, and this 50 grams. It's smaller, and also we have different values regarding all these elements, and I focus once again on the content of saturated fat. We have some some products with 10.2 grams, others with 2.7. So important differences between these products, and of course also the sodium. We have elements with more than 1,000 milligrams, which is more than 50% of sodium that we should intake in one day, and other options more healthy that we can see that are healthier in this aspect, with less than 450 milligrams. We have also the wholemeal sandwiches, less examples because they were not so consumed, and of course with slightly differences. And here we compare only the type of bread and if it is croissant, if it is white or wholemeal bread, or if it is sandwich, smaller size, or baguette, a bigger one, and with nothing inside to see only the nutritional profile of the bread. Of course, then when we add some ingredients, all of these elements, the values corresponding to these elements, will increase, and we can see at the basis that all the croissants have important contents of calories and saturated fats. See the content of saturated fat of croissants when comparison with the other elements, and then sodium only in the bread. We have included on the production of these types of breads, the croissants, already sodium. Of course, when we add some fish, some meat, some cured, especially cured and salty meats to this, the content will even get higher. And easily we can have in only one element a sandwich that people will take in the middle of the morning or in the middle of the afternoon between lunch and dinner, more than half than it is recommended for a full day of some of these elements. So it is easy to understand how can we reach more than the double or the triple that we need at the end of the day with all the meals we take, breakfast, lunch, some snack in the middle of the morning, some snack in the middle of the afternoon, dinner, and in some cases after dinner before go to bed. So with everything we consume in the whole day, I think with this assessment, with these values, we can easily understand how we surpass the recommended guidelines. We have also the comparison of the nutritional markers between the whole groups of foods, processed foods that we evaluate, and also regarding energy, as we see, croissants are the most relevant type of bread regarding this, and of course also they have a lot of fat, saturated fat compared with others. And sodium, regarding sodium, we have Also, important values, I would say no deal means perhaps only the wholemeal sandwich could be a better options in this regard. Then we also compared some other products that are available on the machines, not only the processed ones, because here we were talking about the processed products that were manufactured, that were handled on the cuisine of the vending machine company. But then we have also some products that are industrial products, that are chocolates, pastry, and we would also like to know the content and the nutritional profile of these products, and we have picked up in this case five different chocolates from five different brands of chocolates that were available in the machines, and also compared their content. And we have also different types and different kinds of nutritional composition regarding these chocolates. We see one example, the number two, is also perhaps enriched in dietary fiber with 8.6, another with important values of sodium with 180, and the number three, for example, has no sodium. And regarding the sugars, the total carbohydrate that in this case are sugars, you have also some differences. You can see that can have slightly differences that can make as choice one and or the other. Here, the industrial pastry, as I've talked, we have also collected some kind of industrial pastry products available in the machines, and also it's curious to see that some of them are very high in sugar, other in sodium. And regarding the energy value, we have also some slightly difference, not so much. But for example, if you compare the number five with number one, once again, this is almost the double. And then the percentage of consumption from vending machines, we see that that the most chosen products are the industrial pastry products and chocolate with 33 and 29%. The values you see of 77 and 22% are regarding only in comparison between baguettes, because the baguettes in total the consumption is around 4%. This 77% is saying that people consume more white bread than wholemeal. Okay, but when we compare everything, the industry pastry products and chocolate are the most consumed. These data were collected from the vending company vending machines company vending machines that gave us this data. So, what can we conclude from these results from this nutritional evaluation? Important to point out that this evaluation was conducted based on the information provided by the company, that they have in their sheets, their technical sheets, information about the ingredients they use in the production of the sandwiches, and on the labels of, in the case of the chocolates and the pastry products. For the ingredients that we could not access or they didn't, this is how we made this assessment. As I was saying, so plenty of additional to consume. The problem is what is within, what is contained in this vending machine morning eating snack. So if at least we have some of these machines with to compel environmental changes that make healthy choice possible and easy, is what we have been discussed, and future investigation make further choices according to their joint between the food companies, the food industry, to make it processed food sold in the machines. But of course, this is also must be accompanied by the awareness and the conscience change the products they have available within the machines, and if people will not very healthy choices, very interesting food items from the vending machine companies. Change what you have inside or within your machines, because people must eat healthier. It is also important to have this work near the communities, near the population. Saturated fat and sodium. These were the elements we found more critical regarding the composition of all these items. If we can make a general analysis of this, and of course, if we could provide some alternatives with lower levels of these elements compared to those currently available in the machines, that would be great. So we believe that tolerance of governments, and this comes the second part of the question, the tolerance of governments and the adoption of policies to promote consumer intake of healthy food choices are essential measures to increase the amount of foods with an appropriate nutritional profile. So therefore, conducting further studies will help support and implement public health policies and environmental changes which could improve healthy food access and availability in vending machines. And some work is being done in this sense, with some policies that in this case forbidden some kind of food with high content of sodium, high content of sugar and saturated fat in some kind of environment, especially in health centers and schools, with some vulnerable groups have access to these vending machines, and some kinds of foods are quite limited in being present in these machines when they are placed in these types of environments. But of course, this is not the all we can do. It is not only to make regulatory changes to forbid the intake of some kind of food. We have to explain to people and the communities the importance of not to consume that types of food at least frequently, and make some other choices. It is not only to say you can't eat this because it's forbidden, or because you will get a fine or something like that. You have to make the communities, the populations, conscious of their choices, and make help them to make these choices according to their beliefs and their desire. And of course, we can find and we can teach these communities, this population, to find also tasteful foods and pleasure in eating some food items not with high saturated fat content, with high sodium content, with sugar high content. So there are other options that can be included in their daily diets. So please let me know your point of view regarding this and about the nutritional composition of foods you related when we talk about vending machines and vending machine foods. Which associations you do regarding the food items available in these devices? It is what we talk here with junk food, with foods with high content of sodium, fat, sugar, or not at all. You also think that we have available another options and another healthier options within the vending machines. Let me know a little bit about your experience, what you have read, what you have experienced. This.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, I want to ask, are there any rules made by government in order to impose nutritional standards on the vending machine for to improve the public health?
Yes, what is then it is what I've talked. There are, at least in my country context, of course, this will vary country and region by region, country by country. But in some cases, there are some limit access of high saturated fat, high sugar content, and sodium content foods in this kind of environment, in the health centers, in schools. But once again, this is not everything, and they have their role, their important role for sure, to make these advertisements and to work on legislation. But people must be awareness of the importance of include some other kinds of foods, because if you don't find the food that you want in the machine, you go to a food establishment, you go to a supermarket, and you will eat this high content sugar, fat, whatever food in other place. The important is to make the population and the communities awareness of the importance of make healthier choices. Because to forbid, because to legislate on this, I wouldn't say that it is not important. Of course, it is, because people can think if we have not available this because the government limited, this is for one reason. People must think on that. If this is forbidden, why if this is forbidden here and not in the other place? So this also can make people change. But not all the people, and this will not work for everybody. And of course, it is easy. If you don't have access in the machine, you go to the establishment you have right in front, and buy the soda drink, and buy the chocolate, and buy the croissant with isolated fat content. So it is a part of the work. Yes, we can make, and it's important to make in agreement with the regulatory bodies, with the governments, but not everything. Not everything. The education, once again, the work that we must do near the populations is very, very important, and perhaps the most relevant task we have to do, and of course the most difficult one also. It is the question of changing mind, changing habits, changing what people think that this is not a problem to eat one chocolate, two chocolates, and why this is telling me to change completely my routine and my food habits. That is the complicated, because to forbid it's easy, and with the forbidden we can stop the people to have access, at least in this way. But but nowadays people can also easily find other ways to get the products. So we should think about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, my question is how can we detect food is spoilage and expiry food in vending machine, this kind of vending machine? How can we detect? Is there is any kind of sensor is present in?
No, this question is more related to the session we had yesterday. Yesterday was food safety. Now we are talking about nutritional composition. And regarding that, I think we have also answered yesterday. Who wants to give answer to you? What about this? Would be interesting to have this kind of technology and sensors to avoid. Is what I said yesterday. I won't say no, but the cost effectiveness of that.
Then how can we detect it?
I don't know. Tell me you. I don't know the cost effectiveness of that. I don't believe on that at this point. All of that measures would be important, but what would be the increase in the final end product? I don't know. I didn't study that, so I can say if it is a good for the theoretical point. I can say yes if it works, but we have other ways to avoid it. Because these machines are stocked every day. There is one person that go to the machine and verify the expiry date, verify the conditions of the products that are in the machines, and not so cost effectively, because the cleaning and disinfection problems of these machines must be done, and at least at this point by humans, by individuals. You haven't self-cleaning also, as one of your colleagues also told us yesterday, that also could be a good idea. But all of that new, the applying of all that new technologies, that we must study, and of course see the cost effectiveness, because they can work in I would say, in lab conditions, but then in practical, that cannot be so effectiveness. Or maybe they are. I don't know. You have to study that. But my concern is my biggest concern is regarding that. But I at this point I can say no, and no I can say yes. Yes, you have to see. You have to study that.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, in our country, the vending machines that we have usually have all packaged products like biscuits, chips.
Like chocolates, pastry, chips, salty snacks.
Yes, sir. We don't have open perishable products like you mentioned, the whole list of items. And so my question is, which was the most healthiest option in this list of items that you evaluated?
Yes, first the products you first mentioned are the easiest to manage, so it's easier to stock, to restock, and to have the machines with that kind of non-perishable foods than the others. And with the perishable, we have to also assess the consumption of the clients that will have access to the machine. If we have high consumption, not to not make that products expire or to get spoiled, because that can be easy if people will not buy that perishable foods from the machines. And regarding the healthier options we found here, I believe that was and also because of the size, the sandwiches. Let me show you this, where you have chocolates, not this, processed foods. The white bread sandwiches that we can consider it the most appropriate food items. We have the croissant with a very high content of fat, saturated fat. Then we have the whole meal baguette with an important content, especially of sodium. So, and also because of their size, they are almost half of the baguettes, the sandwiches would be the best one, and perhaps the whole meal due also to their content in fiber could be the best options within this all these types.
So, and the chocolates that you mentioned, they're all.
The chocolates we have different types, so as you see, here are separated by the bones, but we have chocolates, for example, with 35 total content of carbohydrates, and other with 18.2. We have chocolates with saturated fat, and others with no content of saturated fat. Some you have here an interesting option with almost 9 grams per 9% of fiber. So we have different options also in this regard. If you want to eat a chocolate, see what could be the best option too. But of course, they have high content of sugars, and that should be something that we would recommend for a daily intake. But of course, people like it. People will eat. We can say people stop eating chocolate, stop eating sweets. So, but at least if we can choose within all the options the best one, that would be great.
So, is there any checklist available regarding vending machines that would include both safety features that need to be checked?
A checklist regarding the food safety.
Food safety.
Yes.
And the machines working.
Yes, in the session yesterday, the work I presented. If you go through that work, that paper, in the paper you have the checklist of all food items evaluated in the vending machines regarding safety and quality parameters.
So one more question. It's not very common here in India, though we have vending machines available. When universities or campuses try to get into an agreement with these vending machine companies, I understand that they will customize it because it will depend on the shape of the product that needs to be stuck into that.
Yes, the vending companies will include in that machines the products that students, university students will buy, will desire to be there. So this should be made in accordance, of course, with the managers of the university campuses and the managers of the vending machine companies. And then, of course, if the regulatory bodies can make something to this, because if it's like the same problem we have in Portugal, not at the university level, because at that level people are already responsible for themselves. It's different when we are talking about school environments. But then regulatory bodies can make something to tax or to limit the access of some kind of foods, especially in some quantity. Or, for example, it is mandatory that at least 30% or 40% of the food items should be vegetables, should be perishable food. So for not to have only a package the items, as you mentioned, salty products, confectionery, pastry. So that is another step. First, to see how could be possible to implement the presence of these devices in the campuses. Then what should be included there? And should be included for people of healthy choices and for the vending company itself, because the food company, the vending machine food company, will not want to include only healthy options if people will not buy. So this must be taken into consideration, the perspective, the point of view of the company. So we must find here some harmonization, a balance with good food options for the people, for sure, according to their preferences, according to their health, but that will sell, that people will indeed consume, and not only be present there because they are healthy and then people will not pick up them from the machine. Small amount, small quantity of these machines with some different types of products. And of course, it will also depend on the region and the culture, the traditions. I don't think here it will work a machine that includes some kind of products based on meat or animal sources. Perhaps in other regions that could work, but and see what are the preferences of the target population, and then to start to the introduction of some kind of are happy with the offered products. If the offered products are a good choice from the point of view of health, so you have to go have dinner or lunch or a snack in the middle of the morning and the afternoon. Yes, we have also the operating machines. We can also include, for example, the TV. You are so accustomed, you can have a machine with the expenditure that dispense tea, for example. Why not? The problem is not the machine. The problem is the association of the foods that we are accustomed to relate with vending machines that are not so good options. But that is also a problem related with the consumer and not only with the companies. Once again, the companies offer the products that the consumers want, and it is not working only so that consumers want more healthier options, but if the consumer at the end will not opt for these.
One last question. This thing about consumers that you mentioned, like for example, in this university, everything closes at 10. People will be working 24/7. There be it nurses or doctors who need to take breaks and have snacks in between, even at 3 a.m. in the night. So
Yes, that is one of the big advantages of the vending machines, that they can give you food, every kind of food, since they are within the machine 24 hours per day. So you don't need to have a timetable for a machine working. They can be fresh meals, snacks. It depends what is the content of their machines. That is one of the big advantages, for sure. We use these machines in a good way. Yes, for sure. That can be very advantageous. Yes.
so do you have any literature or tool to promote healthy eating practices? And any strategies or challenges?
Yes. Currently, the content of foods that are available in vending machines. Also, for example, free of gluten products for some specific to make the choices of the people more conscious, and we have a wide range of. Thank you. What these devices must accomplish is the same that of restaurants. So, and they are monitoring machines. So from that aspect, they can be considered also even with hygiene conditions, because yesterday it is very important, first of all, to make sure that all the items that are sold in devices are safe. So that must be accomplished, yes, for sure. And of course, the people that are responsible for the restock the machine are also responsible to apply the cleaning and disinfection program, and to clean that machine as frequently as they are used. As I said, there are machines with the consume is so frequently, for example, in some centers, that the machine must be restocked more than once per day. The watering machines. These machines easily come dirt, and it's necessary to apply these hygienic measures very frequently. But of course, this will depend also the use of that machine. If it is a machine that in one day will sell 5, 10 coffees, is different from a machine that will sell 100 coffees. So this must be adapted, of course, to the use of the machine. But yes, of course, we must ensure that the good hygiene practices are implemented in the machines. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
My question is, in schools, universities, or hospitals, like you mentioned, should there be any
Give the example in Europe. There are some restrictions regarding that, but from my point of view, that can be important. Yes, at least for ours, the population and community. If this is forbidden, or if you have some limit access, what is the reason for? But the part of it, it is very important. The education of the population is what I say. If I can't have access to the suite here, I can go to pick up just right in front in the other establishment, or I can go to the supermarket. That will not change alone. That will not change the routine or the habits of the individuals. That can be important, of course, especially when we are talking about children, but other ways of promotion, good health and good healthy eating habits should also be advocated, because it is not only for forbidden one thing that people will not go there, and we say that when you forbid something, that become the most desirable thing in all aspects, not only food, but only to forbid, only to apply taxes, only to make fines. That is can pass an interesting message that why this is not allowed, why I can't buy this, but also make people the desire of to go there and to buy what is not allowed. So most important of all is that we make people conscious and awareness of the importance of change their routines. Not only say you have to change because this is not good. People say, but why not good? I have making this, taking this, eating this for 5, 10, 11, 30 years, and I'm here and I'm fine. Why you are now arriving to me and say stop to do this and drastically start to do other things that I don't like, that I don't see it interesting for my perspective, for my beliefs, for my culture, for my. Yes, that is complicated. Changing the habits, changing the routines is very complicated. Of course, it is not one day to another. But the education of populations in these very early ages are very relevant. For me, it's the most important. It's not easy, for sure, but only to apply taxes, only forbid the presence of some foods. We cannot do only that. It's very little. It is very little, and the results only based on that. are not so effective. Are not so effective. For example, in some kind of food establishments, we have legislation about the tax of sugary drinks with higher taxes compared with other drinks. And what happened? The food establishment assumed that this difference and the price of the end product was the same for the consumer because the sellers wouldn't want to lose their sales. So this is not always so simple to manage and to apply. But of course, if people know that should not buy, should not drink too much of that kind of foods, of drinks, and prefer others because they have implications in their health and all other reasons, that of course better. It was even needed any kind of behavior from the legislation or from the plain taxes at all. So it's like that.
Also, sir, in your view, what challenges exist in balancing consumer preference, nutrition, and matlab- yes, sir, consumer preference and nutrition in a healthier perspective? What challenges exist in vending machine foods in balancing these consumer preference and
The challenge is
nutrition?
the same that we are talking in vending machines or not in vending machines, is to change the people's minds and routines that they are accustomed for several years ago, and now perhaps they must to change something because of their health, because of the health of our planet, of environmental and sustainability issues, and why to change. That is the most, and how I will say people they need to change, to make some changes. And this communication, this education is the greatest challenge because to make legislation change is easy. Oh, it's not quite easy. Of course, you have to discuss it with the policymakers, with the governments, but we can do. We can legislate to apply some tax to these products. We can forbid even the consumption of the cells if they don't understand why they have to change some of their habits or their routines. That will be very difficult.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Like as everybody said, we haven't seen like perishable food in India. We normally get that packed or completely like that junk type food. So like I'm asking, is there any technology in that so that according like we know it is a packed food, so labeling will be there. This is the content of this like let it be protein, fat, or carbs, anything. So is there anything which we can add the technology like the person which like I'm withdrawing something from the vending machine, so it will limit me taking only this much thing? Like they'll say that if I have withdrawn one thing, they'll say that okay, your carb has been this much, your protein has been this much, and your fat has been this much, so next withdrawal you can only do below this. Such anything like that can be.
Yes, your question is about any technology to be more available the perishable foods instead of what you have. Yes, and that will depend the type of machine. Of course, a machine that will contain these perishable, these fresh foods, the temperature must be monitored, must be controlled, and we need to have a refrigerated machines, or even a freezer machine. I don't know if I talked, but there are also machines that sell ice creams, for example, and that are kind of freeze. But of course, in these cases, the temperature is a very, very crucial factor that you have to assure that all the transportation of those items must be in a cold chain, must maintain this cold chain, and then when they are inserted in the machine, of course, this temperature must be maintained. This is the special requirement, and in some cases, if the machine is not working well or if there is some problem, this cold chain is broken. and that can pose some problems, of course, from the point of view what we have talked yesterday regarding the safety issues. But the most important thing also when we think on to make these food items available in the machines is to see the availability and awareness of the consumers to buy. Because if you include these more perishable foods in the machines with, of course, a limited shelf life period, if they will not be sold, then we will have food waste, then the money of these products will be wasted also. The food company will not have profit, so that is a problem. So it is different because the other products can be 6 months, 1 year, no problem, the shelf life, and this no. Of course, you have limited period that they must be sold and consumed. So you really have to be assured that the people will consume these foods. Otherwise, we are wasting money, we are wasting food, and of course the food companies don't want that and change again to another options that make their business go better. That is the problem. But of course, if the consumers demand, if the consumers really opt and buy for their products, the only thing is to make the products available in a machine that allows this range of temperatures. Of course, all the cleaning aspects regarding to the machine must be accomplished, so good hygiene practices. But here the biggest concern and the greatest challenge is to assure that these products are sold frequently and that we will not waste the food and consequently the money. But more and more people are demanding, and more we are seeing those kinds of machines with also ready to eat foods that, for example, pasta that can be taken from the machine, and then we have a microwave near to regenerate and to eat. More options, not only the traditional packaged foods and the salty products we are accustomed to associate with vending machines, other options, but of course that will depend the demand, the desire, the preferences of the consumer, the location of the machine, or the environmental those aspects must be taken into consideration and very well studied before we think on implement those options in the machine. So, but things are changing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such an insightful presentation. Your lecture gave us a clearer understanding of how vending machines, though a convenient food source, often offer products that are high in energy but low in essential nutrients. It was eye-opening to see how improving the nutritional quality and portion sizes of vending machine foods can make a real difference in promoting healthier food environments, especially on campuses and in workplaces. You also highlighted how small policy changes and responsible decisions by vending companies can shape consumer choices and encourage better eating habits. The idea that environmental changes can make healthy choices easier is truly a revisit the key points from the session we had before the break. To give us a brief summary of the lecture, I would now like to invite Ms. Sugandhi to share the main highlights and takeaways from the presentation.
laptop, vending machine, food, evaluation of nutritional compositions. Vending machines are now a common feature in many public and private places such as schools, workplaces, and health centers. They provide the convenient access to food, beverages, but the nutritional quality of this product has become a major concern. According to the global data, the vending industry is growing rapidly in some regions. There is one machine for every 31 to 95 citizens, generating billion of euros annually. Most vending machines are stocked with foods high in calories, fats, sugars, and sodium, but low in essential nutrients. This makes them an important factor to consider when talking about the public nutrition and the health. The goal of recent studies has been to assess the nutritional quality of the food offered in these machines and to explore ways to make them healthier. It has been observed that 55% of the items are food products, followed by snacks 10%, cold drinks 14%, and hot drinks 31%. Many of these products, however, do not meet the nutritional standards for the healthy diet. The findings suggest that we need to improve the nutritional quality and the portion size of the vending machine food products. Providing healthier and the more options can encourage better food choices, especially on university campuses and in workplaces. The main conclusion is that vending companies, along with governments and institutions, should take steps to reduce options, promoting awareness and adopting the supportive policies can help to create healthier food environment. At the end, finally, more research is needed to understand the behavior and the financial impact of such changes so that healthier choices become not only possible but also easier for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Sugandhi, for the concise summary. Now, moving ahead, we'll begin our second lecture of the day titled Factors That Most Influence the Choice for Fast Food in Higher Education Students. This topic is especially relevant in today's context as it explores how lifestyle, environment, and personal preferences shape food choices among young adults, a group that often sets future dietary trends. We are once again honored to have Dr. Antonio Rapso with us to deliver this session. Please join me in warmly welcoming him for this insightful lecture. Over to you, sir.
Good morning again. And in this section, we will discuss about the factors that most influence the choice for fast food in a sample of higher education students in Portugal. And when you think on fast food, of course, you can relate with the previous sessions. We discussed about the food items contained in the food vending machines, items when we discuss about their characteristics, about their nutrition profile and everything else regarding not so healthy choices. Perhaps, yes, that is what we will see. But nowadays it is very quite challenging because people really need fast food. What is fast food? Food that is fast to prepare, fast to eat, and fast to have access. And it is one of the great challenges that we can provide these kinds of food, but in a healthier way than the most frequent foods that we see. That perhaps they are not so healthy choices, but people consume these foods because they simply don't have time to prepare other kinds of meals and food preparations and applying different cooking methods. People, or at least most of people in some societies, don't have enough time and their routines are not aligned with the also discussed here. So it is a urgent need to find some fast food, but healthier fast food than those we are more accustomed to see in different shops, in different food establishments. So when you think in fast food meals, we think, I believe, in the illustration we have in the left top corner of the slide, in those kinds of foods that are characterized by their prompt availability, so fast availability, simplified preparation process, so that are also fast in the way they are prepared, and emphasis on efficiency, allowing customers to receive their food in a matter of minutes after making the order. And this is very important on the daily life nowadays, that the challenges that people are facing in their jobs, in their lives. Fast food is often associated with restaurant chains that offer a limited menu of standard options such as hamburgers, chips, pizza, sandwiches, sodas, and other foods that are prepared quickly and intended for immediate consumption. And of course, people like, from the point of view of taste, they are considered palatable foods. So both the fast food industry and the consumption of ultra-processed foods and fast food means have access, convenient location, price, promotion, offers, and price. We may see that in some occasions the price is not so cheap as we can think, but of course, in the other cases, yes, because when you have to spend more time in preparation, you require a kind of Roman student. This fast food consumption is, of course, a public health concern because it's associated with an unhealthy diet as well as the risk of some chronic diseases like obesity, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, among others that we have already discussed here. So I education students are a particular vulnerable group as they are in a phase of life marked by various transformations, which include spending long periods away from home and staying at university campus. For example, some of them are accustomed to have food prepared by their parents, and when they need to move to a different place, a different city in some cases, and they face the challenge of to manage the buying of their foods, to prepare ready to eat, why will they waste time in make this all this manage. So this transition exerts a significant influence on eating patterns, and of course often resulting in unwanted decreases in weight, and some diseases can be seen also in this tract of the population. So what have we done regarding this study? First, it is important to observe that the frequency of fast food consumption among this population, higher students, higher education students, is high and causing worrying implications regarding public health. And we aim to relate the factors that influence the choice for fast food with also social factors, nutritional status, and the fast food consumption in a sample of higher education students in Portugal. For this, we conducted an online survey questionnaire that was disseminated by social networks among students during the first half of 2023, and 237 students that participated, mainly female, were attending public higher education institutions with a median of age of 20 years, and about 20% of the sample more once, twice a week. So permanently about 80%, 78, they choose hamburger meals, spending about 8.6 euro per meal, and the factors that most influence this choice were the easy or convenience of preparation, see how fast they can prepare the meals, the price, and the flavor. So there were also differences between sexes and between those attending not consuming these type of foods. The body mass index was also positively associated with age and with fast food spending and support more effective strategies to improve food choices in higher education students. Here we can see some of the most relevant results of the study. We can see the personal characteristics, the fast food consumption of participants 70%, 75% were normal weight, female dominant population between the study participants, and we see that more than half, more than three quarters of the population, yes, they consume fast food. So 181 participants among the 237. So the presence of these kinds of foods, of these establishments, is very well present in the Portuguese, or at least in this sample of the Portuguese population. But that is also very well to observe when we cross the streets. And of course, for sure, the urban and the great urban centers, Lisbon, Porto, Coimbra, and the main cities, we face in the streets the most of the restaurants, and also in the malls we see a lot of food establishments selling fast food. And in the working days, with the lack of time, people have to prepare the meals and to have lunch. Of course, they go to the establishments because of the price, because of the fast how they are dispensing, and how we can eat, and the flavor that is tasteful, at least for those ones who consume these foods. We asked about the frequency of the consumption of this fast food. How often do you consume the fast food was one of the questions. And we also observed that more than half answered that 2 or 3 times a month. And pay attention, because this is sometimes people have the tendency to not answer so correctly to these questionnaires, because when they think they see, oh, I consume a lot, but let's put only 2 3 months a month. I believe that most of these people can in fact really consume more than what they are telling us in the questionnaire. For example, near my campus in Lisbon, we are right in front some of important fast food lunch and to buy some of these type of meals in the establishments. So the consumption is really very very frequent and very high. Then, what kind of meal is it you consume more? And the hamburgers were by difference the most consumed kind of meal, with 78% of the answers. We have also data about the age, median value of 21 years old. The body mass index we can consider in the range of normal weight, and the amount spent on each fast food meal, it's around 8.6 euro. What in rupees? Indian rupees, I think about 860 rupees per meal of fast food these people are spending. In this table, we see the relationship between the factors that have the most influence on choice of fast food or sex, the type of education, establishment, consumption of fast food, the body mass index, and the amount spent on each fast food meal among higher education students. And we can see that the most positive answers, we can say, under the factors related with this was the price, that they say yes, it is the price that most influence me on choosing these kinds of foods. As we can see, food price, and we can see also another question that was also well evaluated, was also the taste of food. This was another one thing that people mention that makes them to opt or influence the consumption of fast food. And perhaps the most relevant fact was the ease or convenience of preparation, with most 60% of the answers mentioning yes, that was the factor that most influences me when opting for these kinds of foods. Of course, we have also under other answers in other ways, but these were the most relevant ones, and were the people most indicating their reasons for consuming fast food. You have here also the relationship between these factors, these F1, 2, 3, relationship with these questions. And then we related also these factors, if they usually consume fast food, and their body mass index with and the amount spent on each meal. Of course, someone spent more than the 8 euros, and other ones less, but the median was about that. Regarding the body mass index, they were considered as normal weight, with some individuals presenting also overweight, but in median terms, they can consider this the study population as normal weight. This is the same. And we can say that approximately 90% of the participants reported consuming fast food. So half of which mentioned consuming fast food 2 to 3 times a month. And I think very few times, not if they say 2 3 times a week, I will believe more. But 90% reported consuming fast food, and almost 35% of these ones reported the consumption of 1 to 6 times a week. So, and these are very relevant values. Regarding the amount spent, it is similar to the amount paid in a canteen or a private university, but much higher than the price paid for a complete meal in a social canteen associated with a public university, which is around 2.8 euros. But of course, this is only for some special individuals that can have access to these social canteens. When compared with a university meal or in a food establishment, of course, we can have that meal for more or less the same price, between 9 euros, 10 euros, 8.5 euros. It is the similar price. So a part of people assuming that foods, a part of 21.4% of these participants were overweight, that spent on average 80 euros, 8 to 9 euros each meal of this type. And next type of education institution, being public or private. Positive association was also found between the body mass index and the age, as well between body mass index and the age, as well between body mass index and fast food spending. The results index and fast food spending. The results of this investigation, so important implications for public health, clinical nutrition, and providing insight. And you can see that a number of socioeconomic, physiological, and behavioral factors influence the fast food consumption. The commonly in male students, and also another kind of ice cream with orange, peel powder and shamrock peel powder. So if we see this and we analyze this kind of functional fast foods, they can be included in a sustainable diet, and with some functional properties that we see on the right side of this slide. The implications for health can be interesting, with the effect of some of these fruit and vegetables inclusion with these chunks, with these foods, mainly characterized by their high content in sugar characteristics. And so please let me know what is your point of view regarding this, and if you have already seen some examples of these functional fast foods, or if you are more common and associate the fast food to these junks, or if you at all don't have the experience of see. Thank you. How is the fast food consumption in your region? Especially for those that are not from here, I know that here the fast food consumption happily is not very well received and it is not highly consumed. At least it's my perspective of what I have seen. But who are from other regions of India and seeing these results from this systematic review, the status, the paradigm is quite different from this particular rural region of where we are and where this campus is. But speaking about the country and all the regions you have, please tell me about how is your experience. And of course, we will see many differences between some places where you live or where you are accustomed to be.
So very good morning, sir.
Good morning.
If we talk about fast food specifically near CUH, like Central University of Haryana, our institute, it's bit less compared to the
Yes, the
capital
other
region.
areas. You can see for sure, I don't know if you have any study, but you can see for sure people consuming more this fast food. The main sources to make the traditional foods or to buy in the from the farm, so it's the access is different.
Yes, sir. That's also one
That's
of the reasons.
one of the reasons.
Yes, sir. Another thing is, sir, we don't have like too much restaurants nearby our institute, as it's located in some remote area. Like Mandargarh is the main city that is so far, like almost 10 kilometers away from the Central University's
Yes.
campus. So it's also one of that reason.
Yes, and the access to them is not
Yes,
so easy,
yes,
so
yes,
that
yes.
people don't consume.
Yes, sir. Another
Because I
thing is,
believe here it's easier to consume not fast food than fast food. It's the opposite from the other places
other
where
places, yes.
this ease of access and convenience that was one of the factors that most people stated was one of the reasons for the consumption of these foods. Here is the opposite. This easy convenience and access is quite limited, so people opt for other foods.
Sir, I have one question. Like in your area, as you mentioned, people don't have too much time to prepare meals. So maximum of the processed foods are there. So what's the difference consumption of processed food? Like they are also have preservatives, and the another thing is fast foods. They are so far bit similar in terms of additives.
Yes, the concept, of course, is different, but if we see the nutritional composition of the list of ingredients and preservatives and all of those things, the truth is that's not so different because we want that people buy more fresh products, prepare their meals, and not to buy boxes of food that simply put them in the microwave and in 3 minutes have. If you see the composition of that food items, they are quite high in sodium, in fats, in everything we are talking here that is not unhealthy. So, and that is a problem and a challenge for some societies because people need to eat for sure, but have no time to make the preparation of the meals. So in this sense, we have to find some fast food, but healthy fast food. This is a nonsense. We talk about that because we associate fast food to unhealthy options, but we must think on things that people can consume, can buy, can include. We can say people who have to spend 2-3 hours of your day in preparing on being in the kitchen. People haven't that possibility. Not all the people. So we have to think in similar foods that are easy to prepare, and if you see the factors that most say, and it's quite the same in South Asia that in Europe and most of the countries, the easy convenience, of course the price, and the taste. These three main factors. If we find some healthier solutions with these factors being perhaps people will consume, what we can do is putting a product in the market with all of these good characteristics, but then the price is too expensive. Or people to make the preparation need to spend 1 hour at least, or if the taste is not good. This, of course, will influence if the people will consume, will buy it or not. So, but if we find some alternatives that can be pleasant, that can be tasteful, but the price is not so high. So this kind of functional fast foods, if this is only some examples, but if we find some examples with local products that people have easy access to them and with a good taste, with a reasonable price, because of course we are preferred to prepare with local products, and it's easy to access and to prepare. Perhaps people will stop to consume or will consume much fewer of these hamburgers, pizzas, hot dogs, and start to eat these options. But at this time, we don't see much of these options. We see, of course, the growing of the fast food chains all over the country, or every place, at least in I don't know here, the fast food chains are there, perhaps not here, but if we go through the big cities, we have there that chain, fast food chains in the malls. But all over the country, in Portugal and around Europe, we have a lot of fast food chains. And for example, I think that in Paris we have only in one city almost 100 restaurants of one brand of fast food. Only one brand. And for example, if you go to United States, in the same road, you have 10 restaurants selling fast food and selling hamburgers in one road. So and why we see a lot of these fast food chains? Because they sell. Otherwise, they wasn't there. They weren't there. So once again, the companies offer the people what they buy, what they want. And if we change, of course, some of the products of this fast food. Of course, some of those chains also adapted some of their food items with less amount of sodium, less amount of, but of course, it is always different when compared with other healthier options. And of course, when compared, if people have the possibility to buy their own products in the market and prepare their meals, that is always different. But you can compare because you need time and in some cases more money to prepare and to eat that kind of food items when compared, for example, with 8 euros. You have a meal in 5 minutes in a restaurant, and apart of it, you enjoy the meal. It is pleasant for you. You like the taste is good. So why I will change? What is the alternative you give to me? That is the question. When you live in a city and you have very limited time to have lunch, and you have very limited time when you arrive at home to prepare dinner, you spend all the day in your job and you arrive at night in the evening at your house. So, what is the alternative? I will not spend 2 hours, 1 hour in the kitchen preparing the meal. I don't have that possibility. What is the alternative in the point of view and easy convenience, fast preparation and taste that you can give to me? This is the big question, and the answer must be provided for the industry, for the new technologies, for the new thinkers, for academy, of course. And this functional fast foods, and of course adapted to each location and to each local products, must maybe an option. And then if it works, we can think and produce them in a larger scale. But at this point, it is not so easy.
Like sir, in India, there are many noodle brands and some other pasta or something like that. They are based on like millet based or edited with some extra nutrients to make it functional food. They are combined with the veggies so that micro and macronutrient will be balanced. So that kind of mixed thing can be used to tackle
Yes.
this problem. Like
Yep.
that can be easily cooked, less time consuming, and with less efforts.
Yes, that is a perfect example. But at least in Europe, in Portugal, for example, a meal easy to prepare based on pasta, or what are you telling? They will add amounts of sodium, of salt, and they will add some quantity of fats to a sauce with cream and fats, for example, that make people like it. So the question of a good and a healthy meal is lost a little bit, because if we don't add salt, if we don't add fat, people will not like it.
Yeah, because of taste, they have to add it.
Yes, because of taste. Because if we launch to the market a product with no fat, with no salt, with very good content of micronutrients, a balance of protein, complex carbohydrates, everything, from the point of view of nutrition, a very interesting product. But if that product has no salt and fat, because these two elements are very well related with how the people feel it tasteful or not, it is a problem from the point of view of consumption of the people. So, and some products, for example, that are zero fat or no fat, they limited the content of fat in that product. If we see the label, the content of salt is even increased compared with the natural product we see. So they make a higher content of salt to reduce the content of fat. And in the opposite, when you see a low salt content food, they increase the content of fat, because the product must sell. People must enjoy and like the product. And if you remove salt, if you remove fat, then what will be the taste of it? People can see the label, can buy for once, one time they will buy, but when they arrive at home and when you try, most of the times they will not buy again, because the taste is not good. It's very different from what they are accustomed to, and that is a problem. That is a problem.
Sir, in India, like it's not the issue that people don't prepare their food by their own, and they have like definitely they also are busy schedule, but still they take out some time to prepare their own meals so that they can maintain their health. Same ways, like they also crave for fast foods. Like taste buds used to crave, like I need some
Yes,
fast food
also some
within
kind of
1.
addiction of crave. Yes,
Yes,
that
yes, yes.
people can be addicted. One of the questions was regarding that, and of course, when the people answered, they said that was not one of the main factors. But of course, we see that some of the population, and also children, and also adolescents, have addiction habits to the fast food, and also social environment, because a lot of parties of the children, they meet in this kind of food establishments. Why they don't go to have lunch in another place, to some other thing, and they go, for example, to a well-known branded fast food chain? This is also, of course, the social component, and all of this is also related. And this is what is difficult to change from one day to other.
Also in India, like to enhance the taste, but like taste of any dish, mainly the fast food that is common in India is Chinese food, French fries and all, noodles.
Yes, we have also that kind of fast food in Europe, in Portugal, but the price is a little bit higher than, for example, the hamburgers fast food chains that are the most successful, I believe. The hamburgers fast food chains in Portugal. Yes, we have already some sellers of kebab, some sellers of hot dogs, some sellers of Chinese food, Chinese restaurants. And if we see the composition of those foods, they have some in common. That is, a part of in Chinese we have a lot of also the consumption of vegetables, but the fat content of those foods are very, very high. Okay, are vegetables, but most of them are fried, and also they add salt. because it's different if you go to a Chinese restaurant in Lisbon or if you go to a Chinese restaurant, I believe, here in India or even in China. And maybe what you can see similar is the name Chinese, because the foods, they need to adapt, of course, to the costumes, to the routines, to the habits of the population. Otherwise, they will not consume. It's the same. We have Indian restaurants in Portugal, but they don't, of course. They perhaps have one, two dishes, but with advice in the menu, it is very, very hard, and people already know that not choose them, or only if want really to taste. But the most of the dishes offered are non-spicy. That is quite different from here, for sure. But these adaptations must be done, otherwise they will not have success in the products when to sell to the communities.
So one more thing, like to enhance the taste, monosodium glutamate is added. So it can one of the reason that people crave for fast food. So in India, there is no like people don't take it seriously the limit of the MSG in the fast food. So what are the like guidelines in your country to regulate the MSG amount in the food chain?
Yes, but that is not the main problem. All of that is very well regulated and that amounts. The main problem is right, the excessive calories, the excessive fat, the excessive sugar, the excessive sodium content. They have, of course, we believe that the total amount of preservatives and food additives are well regulated by the European Food Safety Authority, and we have also the Portuguese Safety Authority. In that part, we can be, at least we can trust. But the other thing is the content of macronutrients and calories and all these things that we have in very, very excess. And in only one meal, we can easily surpass what is preconized and what we should intake in all the day. And what is the content of vitamins? What is the content of macronutrients you have on that meal? We have mainly fat, we have mainly salt, sodium, and sugars, and not those elements that are so important in our diet. So, what is the content of macronutrients we have in those meals?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Good afternoon,
Good
sir.
afternoon.
So I would just like to add on to what my colleague has said. You mentioned that if in your country you want to have pasta, then you will be adding a lot of fat and salt in it. So what kind of fat you're using? Say if you want to make a puree, you can use tomato with cashew and olive oil. So these are the sources of healthy fats and they can definitely be added. And in place of salt, if you can use some spices like chili flakes or oregano, then and if you
Yes,
use
but we also use the oregano and the spice, but we need to add salt, and we need to add some special sauce, for example, with cream that has fat, and for example, some pieces of cured meat or bacon. So this is a question of routine, of habits, and spices. More spices we definitely will not add to the pasta because we are not accustomed. We don't like it, and we feel strange. Spices here that not work. So and so that is very important, the culture, the habits, the tradition, because what is more than normal for you in my country is not normal. For example, if I go here to a restaurant and ask people to not add any spicy to the meal, perhaps the chef or in the restaurant, this is strange. What happens with this individual that doesn't want neither any spicy? And sometimes when you say this is sweet or this is no spicy, and when I taste, no, sorry, this is very spicy, and I can't eat. But how your taste is prepared and what you are accustomed is quite different for us, and for us to keep the salt away from the food preparations is very, very difficult. It's a very, very long way until populations start to limit it or even eliminate the salt addition. We are very accustomed, and not only in Portugal, also in Spain, in France, in Mediterranean countries, we have that custom. In Spain, for example, in the starting of the meal. In some places, we have a bowl only with olive oil, and salt, and then the bread in the olive oil and the salt, and we eat. So for that, you see how we like the salt and how we like the fat. So we like the flavor of salt and we like the flavor of fats of olive oil. We consume a lot of olive oil. That is a good fat, but it is a fat, and of course take care with the consumption of, and we use olive oil in everything. Also, for example, to add in pasta. So what can be strange, I don't find another word, or what can be strange for you for sure, for us is very, very common. So it is, we need to adapt the strategy for sure, and we need to adapt our interventions in the populations, because for sure it's very different if I want to make an intervention here with you or in my country, even in a Europe context.
Definitely, sir. I understand the same problem you're facing there. We are facing with carbohydrates. So Indian diet is very rich in carbohydrate, as yours is in salt and fat. So yeah, sir.
Yes, and I believe, for example, your diet here, mainly in the vegetarian, have some kind of problems with accomplish with some kind of proteins and the consumption of biological proteins. So, and for us in many, that is not a problem. We have excessive consumption of also with iron. We have not at all. We have problems in iron because the absorption also of the iron that comes from kinds of meat is quite different from the vegetables. So perhaps you may pay attention from some kind of biofortification or supplementation in these elements, as we have seen in some of the presentations. And in most of the cases, we fortunately don't have that problem. We have other problems for sure, but not in that way. This, of course, is related and is on the depends of our habits and what we include in our balance.
Yes, sir. Definitely.
Yes, definitely, yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, I would like to add to Shivani's answer. Like as she mentioned, our diet is rich in carbohydrate, but some like it's very few where we use refined source of carbohydrate.
Yes,
We combine it with like fiber rich foods along with veggies, so it's not that much complex word to tackle.
yes, and for the you have a huge variety of carbohydrates, and of course it's quite different if you consume more complex carbohydrates or you consume sugar. So the absorption, or if you will conjugate those kind of carbohydrates from vegetables, and then vegetables you not have only the carbohydrates, you have fiber, of other elements that help in digestion and absorption. It's quite different if you eat it from a sweet. We have also carbohydrates on the sweet, but chemically and in terms of absorption, digestion, very quite different. So, of course, that is also important to take into consideration.
Sir, I would like to know, like in India, the calorie distribution for major meals is around 500 calories. So, in case of extension, it can be 600 or 650. So, as you mentioned, in your country, you have like more calories per meal. So, how much calories are like basically consumed in your country per meal? Major meals we are talking about.
Consumption in meat and in meat products, meat cured products and salty products that we also consume a lot, and that is also traditional from some regions of Portugal. We have a high intake of protein. But that will depend. That will depend, of course. But I would say by far, it's more than 500 calories. Yes. It is not complicated to reach the what is supposed to intake in all day. It is not complicated to reach in one simple meal. 2,000 calories. It is not complicated to reach that value. Of course, I would say that is the median value almost of the population consume it, but in medium terms, I would say more than 500 for sure. I don't have specific data on that, but 500 calories is a very reduced amount. Talking only about calories. For example, in the previous presentation, you see that a simple sandwich that people eat perhaps two, or and not in the middle of the morning, in the middle of the afternoon, between the main meals, between lunch and dinner, and a simple sandwich can have more than 500 calories, and may have 2,000 milligrams of sodium. So in that element, in that food item, you have already consumed more than you should consume of sodium in one single day. You have consumed almost half of the calories, or half of the calories, no, but almost one fourth of the calories you should consume in one single day. So when you go to a lunch, when you go to a dinner, a heavier meal, of course, this and see all you have ingested in 24 hours, you see that it's very easy to surpass what is regulated, what is mentioned by the guidelines and by the reference intake values. So yes, we have excess consumption of calories for sure.
So, according to you, what are nutritional interventions work best for college students?
Regarding this,
Yes, fast food consumption. Nutritional interventions
it is
for
not
best.
easy because, of course, they will argue that they don't have time, that they don't have the knowledge, not only the time, they don't have the knowledge to make the food preparations. And the convenience and what they have easy access is this, they will say. So make the foods offered by the canteens better from the point of view of taste, because most of them simply don't like. They find much more tasteful these pizzas, hamburgers, these types of foods than the meals offered in the canteens, because the price, they state that the price is one factor, but if we see in fact the price is quite similar if they go to a canteen. But the taste is not so well accepted. The preference from the point of view of the taste is on the canteen. And of course, the young people, the students, don't think very much on the health. All of them feel they are healthy, and all of them feel they are strong, and they will eat what they really prefer. And then you have also the social component. If everybody, there are a lot of reasons, and they will argue state not going to other place for eating. And what we can do in interventions is to think on some fast foods that can be healthier than those ones that are already offered in these places. And why not join with these industries, and also to offer different things in the canteens of their campuses, more tasteful food. But this is not so easy. This is easy to think on it. It's easy to draft. But then when we go to the reality and to the practice, it is we face a lot of challenges. It is not easy from one day to another to change what is prepared in the kitchens of the canteens of the schools, of the universities. It's not easy to make people avoid go to that food chains and go to other place. It is not easy also to arrive at food chains, and they have lucrative and they have profits, and so you have to implement other kinds of foods. And they will say, why? If this works for me, I will have more work, and what I will gain profit money with that. That is the question, because they exist. They are an enterprise. They are a company, and the companies exist for making money. Otherwise, they can't pay salaries, they can't pay bills, and they can't exist. So, what is the reason for me to offer different foods if these foods are selling good? You make your job, you make other offers, you make campaigns, you make actions, but I don't need to change nothing, because I'm happy with the profits I have, I'm happy with the savings that I have. So it's a complicated way. Of course, we have the tax, we have all those things, but they are not effective alone, for sure. So once again, the education, the role that the parents have at home in the education, also to teach the children the importance of the foods of consumption, natural foods, the teaching of them to make them autonomous from the point of view of they can prepare their foods if one day they must go to other place and they will not have the mother or someone that prepares their food. And now they will go to the easy way. And the easiest way, is to go to a fast food chain and buy what is not expensive, what they can access in a very easy way. It's tasteful. So, what is the reasons that make them go to other place or go to the supermarket buying the ingredients and make the meals and that? They have to study. They have to go out with friends, but not being in the kitchen, not being in the market buying food. That not at all. So it is complicated.
Yes, sir. So, why do males and higher BMI students eat fast food more often? Like, what's the reason behind it?
Which students?
Male students, in the study you discussed about it, like male students and the person with students with higher BMI, they crave for fast food, like they consume more fast food.
Yes, if you can see that can be related. Of course, this is only question and it's only a relationship. Many other factors can be associated with this increase of body mass index. But if we see the profile of these foods, they positive affect the increase of the body mass index because people are consuming excessive calories that they will not spend at all. So it is normal with the frequency of consumption of these foods the body mass index can be, but of course, more analysis must be done.
My question is like, why they crave for or why they consume more fast food? They are higher on BMI. Like in your
Yes,
study, you
but they
discussed
don't think on that. They don't care about the BMI.
normal people. If we compare in the study, you discussed about it, now, like male
Yes.
students and the students with a higher BMI, they consume more
Yes,
fast
but
food.
here that is not relevant because 80% are normal weight, so it is a very small amount. We have even with obesity, 3%, 5%, and overweight 20%. So these numbers are not relevant. As I said, this we can make a direct relationship because many other factors can contribute to this. This is very small numbers. But in other studies, we see that it is interesting that the people with obesity and overweight are demanding more healthier foods in the machines, healthier foods in the vending machines, in the canteens. But then, when we observe their behavior, even when we introduce that healthier options, they will not opt for them. They will opt for the other ones that stimulate even the increase of body mass, even increase of overweight and obesity. So this is complicated to, to analyze.
So I studied one research paper based on like why people more crave for fast foods or something like that. They mentioned two, three reasons about it. One thing is hormonal or stress levels. Because of the stress, they also like if the sleep is not properly taken, then in that case also people crave for fast food. And another thing is if they have stress, like more stress, in condition of more stress, they crave for fast food because there is a shift in microbiota, like gut microbes, and it signals to the brain, and it's feel like a person is craving for fast food and wants to eat more unhealthy food.
Yes, and that is true. It is all about the routine, the custom, and if you are accustomed to that, and if it works for you from the point of view of this trade manufacturers in this systematic review, and also in the study I conducted in Portugal, it is the taste. You feel it enjoyable, and you feel pleasure in consuming that food. You don't spend a lot of money. You have not even cheaper choices and it's easy to access, and you spend no time on have access to them. So please find me an alternative that can accomplish all this, and maybe I will try. And sometimes, even if you find alternative, people say change For what if I'm good with this? That is the most complicated and the highest challenge we have. And we have, of course, to find some alternatives to change this, to change people's mind and change people's behavior, and to find some other alternatives. It is like you have discussed about the sugar. People consume more white sugar, and you see white sugar more prevalent in all kinds of sweets and foods. Why? First, the price. And we can stop here the discussion. We can stop just here the discussion. The price is very different from the others, from the other alternatives, and a part of the price. But the price is only is sufficient because most of people do not pay 4-6 times more than they pay for white sugar for the white sugar, the refined white sugar. But then you have also the problem of taste, and then we have also the problem of access. So you have problem. But of course, you can be making studies and talking about the beneficial impact, the composition of amino acids, of polyphenols. But people don't care about that. The people will not buy it, can't buy it, and people is happy with white sugar. Only, of course, if they have some kind of disease and go to the doctor, and doctor tells you must stop to eat the sweets. But that is in another level. That is in another step. Until then, people don't take care. Now, people are being more conscious about all the problems because also all the interventions, campaigns, all the discussion that is made on different medias but when they go to the supermarket and they go to consume the foods and also the industries that prepare that foods, they use white sugar mainly because of the price, because of the easy convenience and the access. Because if they use an alternative, what else? People will feel the difference in the price, and in most of cases, perhaps also will feel the difference in taste. So why I will pay more and much more for this item and with even a different taste that I don't appreciate so much? That
Yes,
is the main point. All the other things you may study about it, the benefits, everything, they come at the second in the second stage. So
Sir, one more thing. In one of our national speakers lecture, we were discussing that people don't pay attention to a dietitian's advice, or rather they take it more serious. If a doctor suggests something about it, like in India, it's very common. People don't take very serious about the instructions that are given by the dietitian, whether they are going by themselves or doctor is suggesting them to go to a dietitian. So like in your country, what's the status? Like people are taking it seriously or like okay.
I wouldn't say they don't pay attention to what is said or what is mentioned by the nutritionists. I wouldn't say, and even in last years we have great work from the nutritionists, at least in my reality, in my country, that we see that they are more and more present in different fields of work, not only in the hospitals, not only as clinical nutritionists, but also in public health centers, in the communities, in different and they also appear more in televisions, in journals, in newspapers, in social media, and the role and the relevance of the nutritionist and the nutritionist's advices are more taken into consideration, and people are more aware of the importance of prevention. And not only to treat some disease or some illness, not at that point. Of course, we are also important on the treatment, but our main goal is to prevent, is at the primary prevention. So we see that people are paying more attention to our profession, to our advices, and not only to the doctors, but then of course also the role of or the way of other health professionals, pharmacists, doctors, nurses, see also the importance of multidisciplinarity and the role of the nutritionist can have in this, and the function of the nutritionist can have in this achievement of good health in also in a hospital environment to treat some diseases, it is seen in different way. For example, 20 years ago. This is a very much more well established now than in last decade, for example. And even the doctors, the other professionals, see the importance and want to have a nutritionist in their team to, of course, to work in collaboration. And this is very, very important for the people, for the sick people. But the primary objective, our primary objective should be prevention, should be primary prevention, not only act when I feel some pain, when I go to the doctor, and when I face some specific disease. For, of course, there are a lot of people that only pay attention on the time, but not only regarding nutrition. For example, smokers, they only stop to smoke when go to the doctor, and the doctor say, "Or you stop to smoke, or you will not live for too much time longer." And even that, there are people that the craving and the addiction is so huge that they're still smoking. The food is exactly the same. Even going to the doctor or to the nutritionist, even they say you have to consume less of these food products. You have to include more of these ones, but they don't care. It's their responsibility. So, but in other cases, yes, it works when you have some diseases, and the doctor says, of course, or the nutritionist says you have to stop eating sweets or with sweets with this frequency, otherwise you'll have these health complications, and then people are alerted and say it's better to see if I do something positive and stop with this. But it would be preferable if people would be conscious and learn about what to eat in each portion, in the right portions and in the right way. So, but that is not always possible, unfortunately.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So you mentioned about social canteen in your paper. So how social canteen,
Yes.
where the costs are almost half of the equivalent meal compared to a fast food meal.
Yes, but the problem is the quality of the taste. And for example, we have some social canteens even in public universities, but people go from run from that canteens and go to the fast food, even paying more. People usually don't like the taste of the foods offered there. That is one of the problems. And of course, you can imagine for 3 euros, it is very difficult to offer a good quality meal. At least 3 euros from my perspective. 3 euros in Portugal is nothing. Is nothing. You have, for example, in banknotes, you have a 5 euro banknote that is not very used because 5 euros, you with 5 euros, you can't buy no many things. So, and 10 euros is the last banknote that people usually say and pay, for example, a fast food meal. That is a very cheap meal. And imagine with 3 euros what kind of products, food products you can have on your plate. So people the only people that go there is people that can't have access from the point of view economically to the other to other meals. So it is impossible to make a good meal from the point of view of taste with good products, fresh products with 2.8 euros that was mentioned in the paper. So and only some specific populations are able to go to that meal. It is complicated to talk about a good meal for 3 euros, at least in Portugal.
So if I may ask, like this may be relevant in our country.
Sorry?
This may be relevant in our country, these social canteens, and it's run across the country. My question is, how do they recover the costs?
Yeah?
The
Sorry,
amount-
I didn't understand. Sorry.
How do they recover their costs of
The
running
state,
this?
the state contributes for the payment of the total meal. People pay 2 euros, 2.8, about 3 euros, and then the state finance the other part. But of course, the offered products are low quality. In most of cases, of course.
So when you say
Not low quality from the point of view of nutritional. In some cases also yes, but not is the point. Low quality, for example, from the point of preparation, not so caring the preparation and in the taste, and people don't appreciate it.
right.
Only if they don't have any other solution.
Thank you, sir.
And not only social canteens, even in, for example, canteens of public universities. In most cases, or there are some cases that people also don't appreciate, and they have access to meals with lower prices, lower cost. But the quality patterns are not so high as, for example, you go to a canteen in a private university, or if you go to a restaurant, and
Yeah.
people looking for better patterns regarding also to their meals.
Right. So this study that you mentioned, it was about college students and higher education students. So was there any in your studies where there was a inverse association between age and fast food spending?
Age and fast food, of course, elder people have less consume of fast food, and also because of their experience of their routine when they are young in their lives. There wasn't this, so and most of them learn to cook and preparation methods that nowadays most of the young people don't want to care about it, and also the parents don't teach the adolescents to learn cooking. Most of the students that go to higher, to a college, to universities, most of them don't know, even being male or female, don't know how to cook and to prepare their meals. This is the reason 90% of the inquired said that yes, I eat fast food. 90% of the inquired in this study answered yes, we consume fast food. And of course, if they know how to prepare the foods, and if they have the routine, the habits implemented by their parents, go to the market, choose the foods, but that doesn't happen for many reasons. Once again, the time is precious for everything. And if they don't know how to prepare the foods, if they don't know nothing about that, if they have the easy inconvenience at lower prices to get the foods from a fast food chain, and even they feel it tasteful.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other question? Thank you. Thank you so much, sir, for this insightful and relatable session. Your lecture helped us understand how fast food consumption among higher education students is not just a matter of taste or convenience, but also a reflection of lifestyle, environment, and accessibility. It was quite striking to see how factors like price, age of preparation, and taste play a major role in shaping students' eating habits. The findings you shared clearly highlighted how frequent fast food intake can lead to long term health issues such as obesity, cardiovascular diseases, reminding us of the urgent need for better awareness and healthier alternatives in campus environments. Your discussion also emphasized the importance of public health strategies and nutritional education to help young adults make more mindful food choices even in fast paced routines. This perspective truly connects food behavior with both personal and community well being. With that, we conclude the second lecture of the day. We'll now break for lunch, so please take this time to relax and refresh yourselves. After lunch, we will continue with the industrial visit for hands-on training on millet-based product development and indigenous food product preparation, along with local community engagement under the guidance of Dr. Poonam Yadav from KVK Mahendragarh. Enjoy your lunch, everyone. Thank you.